verse 4 of Isaiah 61 says, "They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated." Such hope in those few words. The restoration of something that has a long time has been devastated. I wonder what that might look like in your life, or maybe even find that a bit hard to imagine what that would be. Let me tell you a story. In the 1960s, there was a guy called Chuck Smith who started leading people to Jesus on the beach. This happened in California. A lot of people were led to Jesus on this beach, and it grew and grew. And the surfers and the hippies and the guys who were hanging out there was like, this is just incredible. This news that this guy's talking about is so good. I want to know about it. And they were bringing their friends, and there was a revival, a youth revival, where loads and loads and loads, thousands upon thousands of young people gave their lives to Jesus. That grew into a whole movement of church planting and a whole Jesus movement that spread across the United States of America, and it went into all countries as well, went across the world. It was called Calvary Chapel. You might have heard of it. An amazing movement that was started by a revival of young people, many of whom were student age. Someone asked Chuck Smith, why do you think that happened? Why do you think that kicked off? And I guess that people are always looking to replicate something exciting. And he said it was God's response to the prayers of 1,000 mothers. God's response to the tears of 1,000 mothers. There was much devastation that had happened in that 60s youth generation. There was so much change that was going on. So many young lives were being lost. There was lots of devastation. People were getting drawn into drugs and drink in a different way that they'd never seen before. They were losing their faith all over the place. People were being taken away by the free love movement, and all sorts of promiscuity was going on. And so this just broke the heart of so many mothers. And their response was to cry and was to pray. They were devastated. And maybe this movement that happened on the beaches in California and spread across the world was part of God's answer to those prayers. Because He is a God who will rebuild and He will restore what has been devastated. That's always what He does. What's more is He chooses to join in with us. He chooses not to just treat us like people who don't quite know what's going on, but He wants us to draw us in and help us be part of that story. The student generation today are in so many ways lost. I don't mean that in a rude way, and lots of them wouldn't know that they were lost, but they are lost. They don't really know who they are. Their identity isn't set correctly as children of God. They don't know they have a Father in heaven who loves them. God wants to restore that relationship. Those young people, those students that are devastated in the way that they are living right now, God wants to restore that. Jesus came to give us life to the full, not a half measure, not a purposeless life, but a fulfilled one. So today our opportunity is to embrace that invitation from God to be fully alive in Him, and that we could step more fully into His offering that He will restore what is devastated. Maybe your response today is to cry about some things, to pray about some things, and to bring those things to God that devastate you, that leave you brokenhearted. He is a God who hears our prayers and He will respond.